panel is going to be about how to find the perfect talent in Web3 world, and it's going to be by Pedro from Talent Protocol.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
All the guys or that one. All right, people. So I need 10 beers before my Spanish gets good. So I'm gonna keep it in English. If you want to ask me stuff in Spanish, you can. I don't promise I'll be able to follow everything, but I'll give my best. I'm from Lisbon. I'm from Portugal. 80% of the language is similar, but still there's a 20% that I do get. I'll do my best. So look, folks, I wanted to do a more interactive workshop, but unfortunately I cannot connect my MacBook. I'm going to use this one. I'll do my best. I'll still share some stuff, but it won't be as interactive as I wanted it to be. So first off, I also have some questions for the audience. For anyone, so I'm just going to start by presenting myself, but I want to do that. Show you my profile. So right now I'm building Talent Protocol. I'm one of the founders. In the future, 2026, I want to start the second half of my sabbatical, because the first half was when I started Talent Protocol. So I left it in the middle, and I want to get back to it. And I also want to start something new on the space of educational technology, which is the space I love. I love the talent space. I was fortunate enough to find my vocation early on in my career. And yeah, keep in mind what I just showed is my future Talent Protocol. It looks really bad over there. It looks better here. Let me see. It's like shit. Sorry. This is the problems of doing things live, especially with equipment you don't control. But I think you can get more or less. Anyway, you can follow me on Talent Protocol. Register. Just go on talentprotocol.com. As I was saying, Talent Protocol is more about the future. Think about it like a future-driven LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great. It tells you about what this person is and what they've done. And we don't try to kill LinkedIn. We just try to complement it with having a future-driven vision. So in this case, you can see my future goals. And that's very important to know when you look at someone's career. Also what they've done, but more like, what are you going to do next? And we try to focus so much on that. The crypto part comes later. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show, but you can connect, subscribe to people, you can set up your goals, do career updates. I think you can see mine here. Yeah, parts of it are in the blockchain. We have a token that we use for people to collaborate on goals, and also on collectives, which is a group of people as well. For instance, voting on talent for them to win scholarships and stuff like that. We use a token that promotes this collaboration. It's still a virtual token. We haven't made the token public yet, because we still keep experimenting with it. Before I go forward, I just want to understand. Yes. We're not a DAO yet. We're not in a hurry to become a DAO. I think there are no DAOs, really, if you really think about it. Decentralized. Some of them are autonomous. Most of them are not. Organized organizations. Some of them are. I'm part of a few. And I've built DAOs as well, including Cello Europe DAO. I'm one of the signature holders on the safe. And I can tell you, I mean, DAOs is a bit of a stretch when we say a DAO is a DAO. But we're not in a hurry to become a DAO. Some things that we do are decentralized, so we work in seasons. We try to plan seasons out with our community, get feedback from them. We do 6 months period of time, which is good for experiments as well. And so it's not a DAO, to answer your question. Not true. Yeah, there's a community, people voting on each other, helping each other. It's really good to see. For instance, let me just follow my thread because I tried to prepare it as best as I can. Before, I need to know you guys. So I know most of you are not students, unfortunately, because we are in a university. But I want to ask anyway, how many students we have in the room from this university? From other universities? How many of you hold crypto? Pretty much everyone. Sometimes, you know, there's a few that come to crypto conferences and don't. And it's always good to know we're on the same page. And how many of you are founders in a crypto startup? Cool. I know you're an investor. So cool. We're not raising, by the way. Okay, so I think the best thing to start here is to explain. I want to do this. So just talk a little bit about Talent Protocol. We can go deeper on how we're building things, what we've done as well. I think it's cool. But then I also want to go a bit broader into the Web3 talent space. You know, things that if you want to join the talent space or if you want to hire people in the Web3 space, where to go. So these sort of things. Based on what he told me just now, I'll try to adapt what to show you guys. So, so you can follow me in here. I also want to share something that we've done that is really cool. It's called the Takeoff program. So it's a scholarship program to bring like super high potential talent to their first Web3 hackathon. So the next one is going to be at DevConnect Istanbul. We're sponsored by Protocol Labs and Cello Europe DAO. We're bringing 15 people from all over the world to hack at the conference there. What I told you before, that we run a voting on the platform. I can show you right now how that voting went. So we had, this is the Windows. I haven't used the Windows in a long time. How about this? All right, got it, right. All right, so we run this competition in essence, where we had almost 600 candidates, and then you can see, and it looks really bad. But anyway, you can see here people were voting for candidates. So the people who were voting for candidates, the people who hold the token, aka the virtual token, we call it TAL. And the way it works is when you vote on someone, the token goes into a prize pool. And then that price pool in the end gets redistributed, minus 10% platform fee. The other 90% gets redistributed if you voted on the right person. All right, so for this vote in particular, we had 1.3 million TAL being used in the price pool. The max supply of TAL is 1B. So this was a lot above our expectations for this vote. And so we chose 10 people to go on this Istanbul, and starting tomorrow, we will do another vote to choose 5 more people to go to the Takeoff program. This program is life-changing. Like everyone who has been into our programs, we've done in Paris during ECC, we've done in Lisbon, we've done in Rio, Denver, Lisbon again, Bogota, and so on, Mexico, etc. So we try to really take talent from, raw, high potential talent from places that, look, talent is decentralized. The fact is that opportunity is not. And so we try to take talent that is a decentralized asset and bring them to the places where opportunity is concentrated in these short periods of time. And so, sure. It's the vote.
I mean, like, everybody was
I mean, in this case, these guys were chosen. We have people from the Philippines, from Nigeria, Argentina. I think a lot of people, I mean, people who are based in Europe, they are more privileged in a way, Europe, America as well. So we look at crypto as more like an opportunity, not so much a need, you know.
So people who go vote based on how it's practiced.
Yeah, they need to apply. Obviously, I mean, you cannot really just put people in the vote. I mean, they need to apply and showcase themselves, and then they got to vote. I mean, it was really interesting to see the voting period was 2.5 weeks, and it was really interesting to see that it really went until the last hour of the vote. The top 10 changed in the last minutes of the vote. Really interesting to see.
How do you make your systems of manipulated because you apply for this and how the entire family to apply?
Yeah, I mean, we do have verification systems. So we have, first of all, proof of personhood. We are the first platform to integrate with WorldCoin. WorldCoin, you know this one? Yeah, so we are the first in Europe to integrate with them. And also we have Galchi as well, but we keep integrating with more verification, proof of personhood, humanity. Yeah, we try to de-risk but still is not enough sometimes. So look, the way we build, and this is very important because we have one of the goals for the core team is, you know, to be proud of the products that we build, but also how we build it. And the way we build is very experimentation based. Mm-hmm. So we learn a ton from this. So for instance, one thing we learned is on those last hours of the vote, the whale comes in. Why? Because after a certain, I think it was 190 votes on someone, you start to not gain so much money. So the way the vote counts is like this. I vote for you once, it's 1 town. I vote for you twice, it's 2. So it's incremental. So if I want you really to go, I have to spend a lot of tokens on you. And so this created, yeah, you can vote again, but it's going to cost you more. And so this created the incentive to get early, to vote early on the right talent, the talent you think is going to win. And it's interesting because in the end, we got a very diverse group of people, both gender, but also origin as well. Very interesting in that sense. And it wasn't manipulated. There wasn't like a diversity checklist in that sense. In the end, we just got there. And if you ask me, will the next votes, I mean, the one we're launching tomorrow is the same mechanic, but the next ones we do, will we change, improve some stuff? For sure. I mean, we got already some feedback. I mean, this whale problem at the end can be a bit tricky. So there's things that definitely can be improved. But anyway, these people are going to go to the takeoff program. And I mean, it's going to be life-changing for them. These people, most of them are already involved in Web3, but they are just starting. Either it's like local communities in the like in the countries where they're coming from, and it's interesting to see. I mean, I think socially, if you are a more social person, obviously you'll get more votes, and that could be for me more of an issue there, because you have a lot of talent that may be more introvert or stuff like that, and that doesn't get the chance to shine so much. But anyway, we'll keep iterating and improving as we go. It's very diverse. I mean, we have designers here, developers, people from marketing as well. They know they're applying for an hackathon, and so they need to be a fit for that. So that's kind of like not a prerequisite, but it's in the terms and conditions. I mean, you're gonna hack, you need to be a builder, right? So I wanted to tell you about this because this also explains part of our Web3 component. And I was listening to the previous speaker, very, very interesting approach. And I think the only thing I'm not going to say disagree, but I think we're in a different position. And again, we have to come from a place where, should I use this? Yeah, sorry about that. I was like, look at this, like, okay, I gotta use this. Sounds like I'm in the European Union Parliament, you know, making a speech and spending your tax-paying money. Anyway, from the previous talk, it was really interesting to see all the metaverse, which can have Web3 or not, regardless. But I think it's also relevant to talk a little bit about abstraction in Web3. And there's a really good use case that is not kind of like mainstream yet, but there's one of the sponsors of Block&Change is Cello, and Cello has recently launched MiniPay with Opera browser. So Opera is not that much used in Europe, but is used because it's very lightweight browser, is used in Africa a lot. And what they did is that now you can pay with, for me, is the biggest gift that crypto has given to humanity so far, which is stables. You can pay with stables through Opera, and people don't even know they're using crypto. Okay, if they want to go deep, they can understand it and go, but it's just abstraction layer. And I think we've come to a way, and we've seen things lately with friend tech and stuff like that on social tokens, which is very interesting. We've come to a way where we've invested so much, especially the VC money has gone so much into infrastructure. I think now is the era of apps to come in. I think we have enough infrastructure to start building good experiments, whether it's gaming, social fi, or other things. I don't think we are limited anymore by infrastructure. And we're starting to see new stacks come up. And I think friend tech is a very good example of an abstraction use case. And even better example than friend tech is MiniPay with Opera and Cello, in my opinion. All right, I also wanted to show, I think you mentioned you are an artist as well, so I think you're gonna like this one. So for the people who just joined, how many of you are students? Right. I can understand Spanish, but I don't guarantee I understand 100%. Okay, but I do speak English. All right, so I think you're gonna like it. Oh, damn, I need to connect balls. Okay. Basically, you can mint your own NFT. This is just a community NFT. I think crypto projects, you know, there's the core thing that you're building, which I just showed you, the voting, having your profiles that are future driven, all that. But then you also need to build more community driven things. So we built this where you can essentially create your talent mate. And this might gives you access in our Discord, some stuff as well. So I think if you're into a more design creative person, I think you'll enjoy this one. Just sorry.
You know, it's like an NFT with roots. You know, like
yeah, it's an access. Right now, it's more an access NFT, and we can have future use cases for this in NFT. So, for instance, like pre-sale. Something like that. If you have it, it can be a precondition to have access to that. So it's a good way to be even more part of the community. You mentioned is a community on talentportugal.com. It is, but you cannot have different access layers to be more involved. This is one of them. If you have this, you'll have more engagement on Discord, more access to the core team. So I saw one raised hand or two.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a talent user.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't been able to get my NFT because I haven't been verified.
Did you verify with which one?
Okay, I tried to do it with obviously I'm not going to use my Retina Google ID yet because I don't trust them.
That's your option.
I tried to do it with the passport one. Yeah, it's so user friendly that even I know about wallets. I haven't even used.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
to get a passport.
it's interesting. Before we were using Persona, which is a Web2 tool. You know, those where you put the camera up to verify your password, all that. That's all right. With the Gulchi one, the Gulchi passport. All right, that's actually not our issue. It's the Gulchi. But please go on our Discord. You don't need a talent mate for that, and drop that the question. I know Gulchi is having some troubles with their DNS in the last couple of days, so maybe it's related to that, maybe. But I don't want to give you a definite answer. But you know, just watch the support call right in here. So.
I'm just telling you as a user what I found.
No, for sure. I'm listening.
So I'm an avid user of that.
I love that. So.
I really want to use that.
You know what? Come to me after. I'll verify you. Perks of being a core team member.
Well,
Proof of humanity right there. I got my test. You're there. All right. Sorry, guys. No, that's cool. That's cool. Thanks for nudging in. I think. Look, you can go on talentprotocol.com, set up your profiles. I don't want to invest more time on Talent Protocol. I think it's more productive if I talk more about like broadly about Web3 and talent, especially for students. You guys that just joined in. So I kind of split into newbies and experts. So I'll start with the newbies first. So I think, I mean, from the new people in the room, how many of you? Well, let's do a new show of hands. Raise your hand if you own crypto. Sorry for doing it again. Okay. Okay, so for the newbies, even though you own crypto, so it's really good to have this. By the way, do you own who owns crypto in their own like cold wallet? Right, less. The others, think about it because maybe Binance will go down at some point. All right. All right, so for the newbies, I think like we've seen a few projects before this talk. So like codecrypto.academy was in 2-3 panels before this workshop. There's bigdegree.org, and there's also something that I want to show you guys. So here, there's a few collectives, which is like a group of talent on Talent Protocol, where some of them in Latin. So I think Spanish is quite well used over there, and Portuguese as well. There's one that I particularly like. That is college. These guys. Check these guys out on Talent Protocol. If you want to become a builder in the space, I advise you to check this guy out. Okay. I think they are from Argentina. Not 100% sure on that one. Okay, so I think for newbies, you know, the first thing to do is educate yourself to become a builder. Becoming a builder gives you power to talk to investors, power to go on hackathons and, well, eventually win them, power to, you know, be more participative in meetings like this. So I think like when we built Talent Protocol, we had builders always in mind. So obviously I'm biased and I want people to become builders. So I think educating yourself, thing number one, and then thing number two is getting, and this like I've worked with a lot of people, young talent joining the Web3 space. I think, you know, obviously setting up your account on Talent Protocol is a very nice first step to join the Web3 space. But I think getting active in your local communities is fundamental. If you don't have any local community in your town, I mean, in Madrid, there's a few, in Barcelona as well, in Lisbon, where I'm coming from, few. But if you're not living in a capital city or a larger city, I mean, you can always try and get active in a more like broader DAO type of communities. Things that we're interested on. There's a lot of DAOs in longevity nowadays. It really depends on what's your cup of tea, what you really want to learn and collaborate with. So I think like for newbies, educating yourself. There's a few DAOs that are on, you know, also joining Web3 and education. So maybe you can do a 2-in-1 over there. And I think the last thing is like start contributing to these communities. I mean, this is fundamental. I think this is the necessary or the organic step to go to the next step, which is becoming an expert in Web3, whatever that is. And I think my follow-up to this, for experts, if you're already, if you don't consider yourself a newbie anymore, I think there's still things that you can do. Like the basic one, I would say, is contributing to bounties. Web3, all the founders I know in building in Web3, we're kind of fans of bounties. So if you go on Talent Protocol, if you go on our Notion, which is public, you can check our bounties there, which are permissionless bounties. So we don't need to assign bounties to someone. They just go and submit the PR on our GitHub, and then we'll check if it's good, we'll pay you. We don't even need to know you. You can be an anonymous, a pseudonymous contributor. So I think that the most basic thing is contributing through bounties. Bounties don't have to be coding. There's so many types of bounties. I think the Ethereum Foundation is launching, or they launched recently, like translation hackathons, translation tons, I think they called it like that, to translate their things. So there's multiple things. You don't have to be a dev to collaborate. I think after or that, or in parallel to doing that, and I think one of the most important things that I've seen differences between working in the Web3 space and Web2 space. Maybe investors don't like this too much, or employers, but I feel people are working in multiple projects at the same time. Sometimes they have a main project, like me, I have Talent Protocol, but I have also, and part of Cellaware of DAO and other projects that I believe in. I think it's socially natural and accepted, more than accepted, promoted to be working in multiple things, even though there's a balance there. If you're working on many things, maybe you're working on nothing. So you need to balance things out. So I think, having said that, there's several sites, like you can go, if like we do this compilation, you can go on our Telegram, which is right here on the footer of our, footer of our page. And we have like we automated the compilation of jobs from all these different sources. So we have all different types of jobs. Many of them are devs, some of them designers, sales as well. So there's all these different things. So just go on the Telegram icon there at the end, and you can see all the jobs. We did the job for you. We just aggregated everything together. But I just want to mention a few other things. For bounties, you have dwork.xyz. Let me write it here. dwork.xyz. They're really cool. We use them sometimes for our own bounties as well. I know a lot of projects in Web3 that use them. And you also have, I think web3.career is very well known, but there's Web3 crypto jobs as well. So just compilation of jobs. But if you go on our Telegram chat, we kind of like try to compile all of this together. And then I'll just leave two other things for more experts. When you have educated yourself, when you if you consider yourself ready to experiment IRL, I definitely advise to check out ETH Global. It's a bit of competition to Block&Change, sorry, but it's more broad and focused on Ethereum. So these guys are really pros when it comes to hacking, and our takeoff program for Istanbul. Everyone that gets selected will be hacking at the ETH Global Istanbul hackathon. So definitely follow them. They also have sometimes they have hackathons that are online as well. I think they're one now or soon that is online, which is a different experiment. It's a different type of experience. In my opinion, I always prefer IRL for the vibes, but yeah, if you can't make it, it's also good to do it online. And last one that I wanted to share is Gitcoin. Gitcoin is a platform for, I would call it like platform for grants. that's my very naive way of explaining Gitcoin. But essentially, you guys can go to Gitcoin and submit grant proposals, like things that you want to build, and then you can get supporters to not really invest in you, but to back you up. Okay, they have a very interesting quadratic model, support model, which we can learn from for our own voting system. And we're already thinking about this when we launch. We're like, let's quiz. Yeah, the passport. Yeah, our CTO looked at the Gitcoin passport. We love their team. We're like good friends with them. But from a technical standpoint, the Gulchi passport was a bit better. But this is like in our pipeline as well. I mean, for us, Talent Protocol, if you don't like WorldCoin, fine, you can use Gulchi. If you don't like Gulchi, right now we only have those two, but eventually we'll have more, you know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Also using passport. I got here with ZK, which is privacy saving. I think we kind of roll out that to verify yourself the ratio. 100% correct with that.
Yeah.
Only you approver and verify a myself.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like our approach to verifications and whether it's identity or your own data. And by the way, that's one of the biggest problems with Web2 is in specific LinkedIn is bad data. They now rolled out a verification. By the way, we're in very good terms with their dev team at LinkedIn because, as I said, we kind of complement them and they learn from us the Web3 way as well. They rolled out verification. I think it's fundamental for them. The worst thing that happened on LinkedIn, this was from their team, was having agencies of background check agencies using LinkedIn to verify if you worked at that job. This is like their worst nightmare. With the verification, it's okay, but they were using before, like.
Try to find it back.
Yeah.
If they actually close this answer, that like verify individually.
Yeah, that's like Web2. I mean, they're gonna control their system because I mean their business is recruitment. They're gonna make money out of your data, and you know what? That's
it should be kind of easy for them because they have our
the reason it's not easy is because they're super large organization. They're slow as fuck. They're corporates. So that's the biggest problem. Like. Yeah. It should be easy, but it's not for them. They take a long time. Even though I have to say LinkedIn has evolved a lot in the past couple of years since they changed CEO, a lot more focus on product and collaboration as well, and content as well, like creative content, which I like that. Again, I love what they're doing. I wish they would do it faster and more Web3 like. Without exaggerating, like connect the wallet on LinkedIn, you know, come on, let's not go all. I mean, if they want to do it, fine. But if I was a product lead at LinkedIn, I wouldn't do it like that, at least. I would use more abstraction approach, like MiniPay or something like that. So people, it's your data. We're monetizing it, but it's your data. When you don't want us to monetize it, you can get the front office. Yeah. So having said that, I think like the last thing I wanted to touch base with you guys is something that we do on Talent Protocol, which is we pay our team. We're crypto native. So when we raised was only in crypto, and we pay our team in crypto, all of them, stables and a mix of stables and our token. And It's really interesting to see. I've had recruitment processes where at some point, like we talk about money, usually on the first conversation, just to get that out of the equation, and fiat. There's people who don't want to get paid in crypto. I do not work with them. It's a filter, natural filter for us. And so far, it's been a good friend as a filter. But it's interesting to see that there's a lot of Web3 projects out there. They are paying in fiat, which is okay. But look, I have people in my team that are in Argentina, in Russia as well, and paying in fiat is impossible. So they want to get paid in stables. And I think this is my challenge to you as well when we think about Web3 or challenging Web3 is we are in Europe, right? We're in Madrid, safe space, let's be like this. We can trust still the banks, kind of financial institutions. We can trust the state more or less. But imagine you were living in Argentina. Would you trust the banks? Would you trust the state? Inflation running wild? Probably not. Imagine you're in Turkey, the lira going down like crazy. Probably not. There's no coincidence that these two countries are one of the countries with more crypto penetration, because for them, crypto is a need. It's not an opportunity. For us, it's an opportunity. That's the biggest difference. So, yeah, that's my final notes. Each person does their own taxes. So the person in Argentina is doing local taxes as he wants. I will not go into specifics. Actually, from a liability standpoint, I never ask. I don't want to know. It's better for me. But each person is assumed that they do their own taxes. It's up to them.
So,
No, they're not in place. They're contractors, and they're also working on other projects as well.
Yeah.
We are 9 people on the core team, 6 full time, but they have other things as well. But talent protocol is the main thing, me included, and then 3 people part time, and they have other things as well. They can invoice if they want. We have an entity that we use, especially that's legal is a very interesting topic. We could have another workshop on that because I have a lot of experience, fortunately or unfortunately, in that space. We have an entity that is focused on takeoff because we do have some fiat in our treasury, mostly because of this. And so if they want to invoice, they can invoice that entity. But we're very, the approach is very lean. This is also very good to keep the burn low. Even though we already, in terms of making money, revenue, business models, we're still testing different things. Even Web3 business models, like the one I showed you, the voting, we get 10%, like the house always wins. We get 10% of the tokens back into the treasury. That's a form of business model, even though the token is not public yet. It is a Web3 way of the business model. We're now launching other things. We've made revenue from fiat as well in the past, mostly because of takeoff. And so if they want, they can use that one. When it comes to legal though, look, we're incorporated in Estonia, but I'm now in the process of incorporating out of the European Union. Why? Because not sure, if you're asking these questions, I'm assuming you have some sort of knowledge in the space. If you're a lawyer, please leave. No, sorry, there was- I'm joking. I love lawyers.
Get my salary, but the is okay, but I need the kind of information, the kind of information, be sure that I have to pay my taxes,
Yeah.
My rent, nowadays I have to pay in fiat. And my cost of living
Should
as well.
convince your landlord to get paid in crypto, right?
So freelancing or something there. So why do you have on to hire part-time like more responsible?
Yeah. It depends on your situation as well, like where you are, you know, your age, like as well for taxes, it matters, your social condition too. So it really depends on the individual, in this case. What I was saying though is that the EU came up with a new directive, MiCA, M-I-C-A, and well, basically regulation for crypto in a broader sense. Which is great. Like I think it's good. The issue is, you know, the EU is not the fastest organization in the world.
Tax regulation exists for
It did. It did.
Maybe I can help you with that. A lawyer, and I also advise that.
All right. It's not no.
You have to pay your taxes there. And I know that the regulation was advanced, but we are in a really early step of the process. Okay? So
Yes.
my best advice is always look for a country if you are going to be like a digital nomad or like that. Live in a country with a good quality of life, low expenses, and well, of course, the necessary tax rate. Well, Spain is a case to debate. For example, in Portugal, by now, well, there have been some regulation modifications, like in the last 6 months, but it used to be a really nice place for digital nomads because you have like a special permissions for. Well,
Yeah.
It
It was called the NHR, non-habitual resident. It's coming to an end this year, so you can still get it until the end of December. And it's 20% flat for 10 years on income tax and 10% on capital income or capital tax. I don't know because I'm not eligible. But anyway, each case to their own. The person in the back, you were saying there was legislation before. There's some, you know, especially for VAT. Yeah, there's regulation and legislation in each country. Each country does their own. So the way the European Union works, I used to work for the EU, by the way, unfortunately. And essentially, you have the directives, and then the countries, each one, because we are different countries, different cultures, different needs, different whatever. Each country will then adapt to, as long as it's respects the directive. And sometimes they don't, and then the EU, the European Commission, can put in court the country, and it's a big mess. So the EU is not the most, it's not like, for instance, like Dubai or Singapore, where it's just very straightforward over there. And even though they don't have like maybe as much freedom as we do, everything is cameras everywhere and stuff like that, which in Europe we're not used to. But they have other things that are good. One of them is like speed of execution and straightforwardness. What's happening in Europe now is we are in a transition period. You as a lawyer, you know, we're in a transition period. So I'll ask 3 different lawyers, I get different answers. How do you launch a token? I'm not talking about personal taxation. I think that's I mean, if you make money from the business, you should do your taxes in principle. And then, I mean, you need to talk to your an accountant you trust, something like that, to figure out best way to do it in that country or outside the country. Well, it will depend from person to person. I'm talking about from a business perspective. What happens when you're caught up in a transition period is that the cost of legal just skyrockets. Why? Because the lawyers are still learning as well. Our community didn't pay us to do legal innovation. They're paying us to do talent innovation. And so we need to be in a place that is straightforward and transparent, and that we know what to expect. I've done this process. I've been to Singapore recently for Token 2049. My main reason to be there is talking to lawyers as well, and then Dubai, the same thing. Dubai is going to go. Dubai, the UAE is a very interesting dynamic with different free economic zones, whatever. It's very weird, especially for someone that has a business in Estonia, where everything is straightforward, online, fast, cheap as well. Going to Dubai is like a 180. Singapore is closer in that dimension, online, all that is closer, even though not as cheap as Dubai. We're still in the process. We haven't made a decision yet. But look, we're talking about Web3 talent. It's funny, we went down to legal and regulation. It's still important, especially with getting paid. So thank you for bringing that. I suggest we the legal part from the business perspective, we can talk outside because it's not to talk about.